Hi, welcome to our channel True Up. Because of the so-called national security danger, the US ordered the removal of Chinese-made equipment used in US telecommunications and security networks 3 years ago. How is the demolition in the United States proceeding after 3 years? Delays and significant financial gaps have allegedly mostly missed the point, and Chinese tech is nonetheless present in the United States, even in unexpected locations. Furthermore, more than 100 U.S. telecommunications carriers continue to employ Huawei and ZTE equipment to deliver mobile phone services to hundreds of thousands of clients. Chinese-made equipment is still used in several U.S. Department of Defense installations, as well as business aircraft for major U.S. corporations and commercial airlines. In reality, the forced removal of billions of dollars in Chinese technology from U.S. telecommunications networks endangers public safety in the U.S. For instance, without appropriate money for a federal aid program known as Remove and Replace, local carriers would be forced to decrease or perhaps eliminate 911 calls along congested routes. In reality, the removal of Huawei equipment has produced considerably more problems for the U.S. Please subscribe to our channel and enable the notification bell before we begin today's video. Let's have a look at the topic we'll be discussing today. In today's video, we'll examine whether the United States has improved since leaving Huawei. Let's go through that in greater depth. Last year, Congress appropriated $1.9 billion for the Federal Communications Commission's Tear Down and Replace initiative, which aims to replace Chinese network equipment in rural America with Western-made items. When the government totaled the grant requests of 181 applicants in January, it discovered a total of $5.6 billion, roughly 3 times the allotted amount. There is little indication that Congress would solve the financing gap anytime soon, which has telecom CEOs unhappy. For example, United Wireless Corporation, which covers 17 counties in southern Kansas, has stated that if they do not receive the cash they have requested, they would have to stop service. Worse, if subsidies are decreased too much, businesses may be forced to go bankrupt. Telecom providers in rural America are running out of time. The FCC will demand that the replacement be finished within 1 year of the money being released. Furthermore, ZTE has ceased serving U.S. customers, and Huawei will follow suit soon. If the outdated equipment in their hands is broken, the situation would become exceedingly severe for some U.S. telecoms providers, such as Huawei and ZTE. According to one provider, his network is deteriorating, and if no replacements or repairs are made, a hurricane may shut down much of his service region in 5 counties. If the United States had not prohibited Chinese equipment, the business would have already upgraded to 5G service using Huawei technology. However, the Remove and Replace program will only involve replacements of like-for-like equipment, not enhancements, which is inhibiting the United States from growing. That isn't the only issue. All of their customers' 3G handsets had to adopt the new network protocol when they installed replacement equipment. Customers will have to pay for these gadget upgrades themselves, however, because mobile phones and other consumer devices are not covered by the Remove and Replace fund. Overall, more expenditures, lengthy renovations, and even a probable loss of 911 service in some areas all point to the United States paying dearly for Huawei's absence. There is a comparable situation where the US got locked in disassembling Huawei equipment, and the UK faces the same difficulty. So far, the United Kingdom has been exceptional in the US-led drive to eliminate Huawei. It originally declared the end of collaboration with Huawei in 2020, and then made a further intensified decision in 2027, vowing to entirely demolish Huawei's communication equipment in use. You should be aware that Huawei has been collaborating with the United Kingdom for over 20 years, which has been of significant assistance to the local communication building and development. I'm afraid no one knows better than the UK whether Huawei technology has security issues, as the US has claimed. After all, a British executive officially revealed in January that intelligence personnel had been installed within Huawei, determining that there was no security risk with Huawei's technological equipment. Nonetheless, Britain has not abandoned its resolve to decommission Huawei equipment. However, the UK's operation to destroy Huawei's 5G equipment has just recently begun, and an unintended consequence has emerged. The United Kingdom formally declared on February 22 that the first phase of local removal of Huawei's 5G equipment will be delayed for 6 months. Furthermore, the aim to cut Huawei's 5G network utilization ratio to 35%, which was initially set for January 2023, has been pushed back to July 2023. Why is this the case? I'm afraid the UK must be regretting its rejection of Huawei, but it still dares not beg for Huawei back since its boss has not said yes. Although the British side claims that the delay in removing Huawei's 5G equipment is due to the impact of the public health incident. But it's evident that it's not that simple, and this isn't the first time it's been postponed. The UK has set aside £2 billion for the plan to decommission Huawei equipment and reintroduce other vendors. However, the overall amount of subsidy applications made by local communication providers throughout the actual operating procedure is as high as £13 billion. That's 6.5 times the amount. The reason for such a large disparity is that China's telecommunications giants, like as Huawei, have traditionally given the most cost-effective equipment and solutions. In comparison, Nokia, Ericsson, and other companies that succeeded Huawei provided almost 30% more than Huawei. Of course, there are other pressing concerns besides the massive budget and cost disparity. Huawei's 5G technology is the greatest in the world, and the company holds the most 5G patents. Replacing Huawei will simply impede local digital building. Furthermore, the demolition work might take up to 5 years, which would not only have a significant impact on local people network experience, but may also entirely put the local area behind in the 5G race. We can infer from the UK's repeated delays in dismantling the plan that the US is finding it difficult to dupe other nations in the suppression operation against Huawei's 5G. By the way, these countries are not faring well. For example, the UK, France, and Australia, who were among the first to respond to the US, are now in a quandary. They removed Huawei network base stations and resumed network building, resulting in tens of billions of dollars in losses for these nations. Nonetheless, they lag behind other nations in 5G building. Overall, communication development is linked to a country's economic and technical progress during the following 10 years. It is critical to decide if it is more necessary to follow in the footsteps of the United States or to grow itself. As long as you are not dumb, I believe you will make the correct decision. Although the United States wishes to reclaim dominance in the global 5G industry, it lacks the necessary resources. The rate at which China's communication technology is adapting to globalization cannot be slowed. Thanks for watching our video. We would appreciate it if you subscribed our channel and gave us a thumb. See you.